Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about setting up our map layout to finalize our map. And this can be a little bit tricky. So I wanted to go through and give you some tips in order to make it a little bit easier for you to do. So you should have already created all of your data frames, and you can actually look at your data and you want to double check, so I can see it a little better, that I have the data not available for all of the areas where there's a -99. And then in areas where maybe there was a 0, we can have that too. So we can take a look at our data. We make sure everything was looking good. I'm going to actually minimize my data frames here because I don't need to see them. But now I want to dump everything into a layout so that it would look nice. So the first thing, you can go two places. You can go down here and choose layout view, or you can go up to view, layout view. Now I already sort of have it set up a little bit, but I'm going to show you how to make it look nice. So when you start, all of your maps will be on top of each other right in the middle here, and it'll be a hot mess. And you're going to just want to click on the data frame. And if you notice when I click on the data frame, it actually highlights what data frame I'm working with. And you can then move it away and move it around to where you want it to be. So probably the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you're setting up your data frames so that they're all the right size, or the size that you want them to be. At the very beginning, I did say that I wanted you to set up your paper size to be a certain size. So before you start doing anything, you need to go to the File menu, and you need to go down to Page and Print Setup. And in here, you're going to uncheck. This should probably be for you. It'll be checked off like this. But you're going to uncheck it, and then you're going to change the size so that it is 11 by 17. And then I want it to be landscape, so it's long. And then I also want to scale my map elements, which means it'll just kind of bring them all in so that I can work with them. So I'm going to hit OK. Now you can make your map portrait size if you want. It depends on the orientation that you want. This is your map. I'm going to choose landscape. So at this stage, I've already kind of got my map the way I want it, but there's a few things that I want to change, and there'll probably be a bunch of things that you're going to want to change on your map. So the first thing that I wanted to do is I don't like all of these boxes. I find it very cluttered, and you see how they cross over each other, these frames? So I'm going to remove these frames off of my map so that I don't have to worry about them. So once I've sized all my maps the way I want them, and I've clicked at them and I've made them the size, and if you notice, what I've done is I've actually chose one size that I liked, and I put a map on top of a map, and then I resized them so that they would actually be all the same size. The other thing that I've done here, I'm going to move this over a little bit, is I've also made sure that the scales of my maps are the same. So if you look here and I click on my potatoes map, and I look at the scale here, if I click here, oh, they're not the same scale. So I'm going to change the scale. So I see this scale here. I like this scale. So I want this to be the size of my map. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to right mouse click, and I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to click on my cranberries, and it's close, but not quite. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to paste over top the scale, and then I'm going to hit enter. And then now this scale and this scale are the exact same, which means the zoom of my map is exactly the way I want it. So I want to make sure there's consistency. I did leave my turkey map a little bit bigger because I think the turkeys are kind of the star of the show for Thanksgiving. All right, so I've set up where I want all my maps to be. Now I want to get rid of some of these borders. I don't want the borders on all these maps. So I click on my cranberry map, and then I can right mouse click in here and go down to properties. And here is where I can choose to remove under the frame, and I can choose to have no border. So when I do that, it goes away. You'll see when you click on it, you can still see a dotted line, but when you print it, it goes away. So I'm going to do that with this one as well. Properties. I go to my frame, and I'm going to remove it so that there is none. I'm going to do that over here as well. So this piece takes a little bit of time to get it set up so it looks nice, so it looks orderly, so the maps are the same scale, so that you have some sort of organization on your map. So all of the different features that you need for your map, which are listed in the assignment, you can find pretty much all of them under the Insert menu when you're in the Layout view. You can insert a legend, so that's what I've got here. You can insert the north arrow, that's where I've got it right here. You can insert text, that's what I've written here. Those are all the subtitles. That's very helpful to have, and I highly recommend you do that. And you can also insert a title, which is here. And then if I want to change the way my title looks, I can just go into the properties of my title, and I can actually change the symbol to be a different type of, here we go, font and size. So this is where I can change the way I want everything to look. I like the way mine looks now, so I'm just going to get out of there, and I'm going to get out of there because I like what I've done. So the other piece too is, don't forget, you need to also put in your sources, which I've shown you in the assignment. The other thing now is that you want to be able to put some of little personal touches onto your assignment. So what I've done is, I always love the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. So I went out and looked for an image here to put on my map. I also added little images of all the food that I put on my map. And I also created a border. And I'm going to show you how to do that. It's very simple. You just have to go out to Chrome, and I'm going to open up a new browser, and I'm going to look for a turkey. If I could spell turkey. And I want to look for turkey images, and I want them to be cute. So I'm going to take a cute turkey, and this guy's, let's use this little cute little turkey. And then I can actually right mouse click, and I can copy the image, or if I don't want the copyright, although we probably should keep the copyright, I could use my little snipping tool. But I'm just going to go copy image, and then I'm going to go into my map, and then anywhere here, I'm just going to click away. I'm going to right mouse click, paste. There goes my image. Click on my image. I'm going to make my little turkey smaller, and then maybe I want to put them just over here on the other side of my title, and then I've got my turkey in my map. I also decided that I wanted to add this little border, and all I did for that is I went out and I looked for borders out online. So I looked for fall leaves border. And then you can actually find a whole border to bring in, or you can just find the little pieces that you like. So I liked that. And then I just copied and pasted, and I added them kind of together, stitched them together to put onto my map. So it looks really nice when we're about to print it out. Always make sure that your legends are there. They don't have to be huge. Remember, your map needs to be bigger than your legend, because the legend is only there in case we need to really look at the data to understand what's going on. Also make sure that your legend doesn't have any decimals. So when you look here, they're whole numbers. There shouldn't be all these zeros at the back end of these, okay? All right. And make sure your spelling is correct. Make sure your name and the date is there. And then once you have finished with this and you've saved your map, so I'm going to save my map, then the next thing that you want to do is, in order for me to be able to print it for you, is you're going to do the following. You're going to File, Export your map, and then you're going to export your map. We want to make sure it's a PDF. You're going to make sure that you're exporting it into your Thanksgiving. I'm going to just put new here because I added a turkey to mine. And then I'm going to make sure that I save it. And now it's going to be exported. So this is what you're going to upload into Canvas. And then if you also want, I'm going to open my new map. If you also want to have it printed, I want you to email me this particular PDF and I can print it. So there's my new map, and that's what it looks like. Okay, so that is how we go about putting our display on our map.